Alright, this is another Escapist Reincarcerated devlog. I haven't made one of these in like almost 2 months now, and that was explained in the earlier video. But for those who haven't watched it, I went away for like a month to a camp to work. Like a summer camp, not like a concentration camp. um, so, but yeah, I worked there for a month, so I couldn't use my computer, so I couldn't work on this project for about a month, which is fine. I needed the break. I have been working on this pretty much nonstop since like last year December, kind of, I think. Yeah, midway, I think right before Christmas, I started working on this like crazy. But basically this video is going to be about the stuff that I've done after I got back from the camp. So yeah, basically after I made that last devlog, I didn't work on it until about August 4th, I think. Yeah, that sounds right. Or yeah, I got back Sunday, so I probably started. No, I think I started back on August 3rd. My first full day back was August 4th. Anyways, so I do want to put this out first before I continue, because I know most of you probably don't watch all the way through because these are kind of long and just boring. Please tell me in the comments if you. Oh shoot! What was I gonna say? I completely forgot. If you, yeah, I don't know. Well, too bad. I guess if I didn't remember it, it wasn't that important. So, I'm gonna continue. So, basically what I've been working on is the map editor. I think I touched on this last video. I honestly can't remember. I think it was like, kinda like getting there. Not much was done at all. Just some very basic stuff. But it's pretty much done now, the map editor, and so it's very nice. Well, okay, it's not very nice. There are still some things that I wanna polish up. I've done pretty much everything that I want to do with the editor. It's just some quality of life features that I would like to implement in the future, that I'm probably just not gonna do right now, or I will, but just making this video before I do. But it's completely usable. You can make a full prison out of it, and set all the parameters and everything, so it's great. So basically I'm just going to go through it. First off, I do want to talk about some things that I had to change because of this, the map editor. I had to basically make it so that I had to load certain files that I hadn't been from the Escapists. So as you know, I basically take all the files from here and then dump them into the game on runtime when you load up the game. And some of those things that you load in are these custom tile sets here, because those are just already like here, easy to use. I can just take them, boom, put them in the game. However, those are only the first 6 prisons, and these are technically not actually what the prisons use for tile sets. So basically, this is a revelation to me. I actually didn't know this before I started doing this, but these right here are actually different, or at least the first like 5 or first 6 prisons of these tile sets are actually different from these. So what I was doing is I was just loading these and using these for making the maps, or really just making center perks and test stuff in it and make stuff. That wasn't going to work because I knew that I would need to add the other prisons eventually. Basically, I found a way to, as you can see, these are all like .gif files, but if I try to open them, it just doesn't work. So yeah, basically it's just because these are encrypted. A lot of the Escapist files are encrypted. I've made many tools for encrypting and decrypting files from the Escapists. One notable one is this pretty much my first program here. That was actually a big project is stretching it, but the Escapists Ultimate Decompiler, it's not a decompiler. I don't know why I said that. It's a decryptor and encryptor. You can encrypt things. Basically, it's just a big thing to convert map extensions, and it's actually really cool. But anyways, so I've worked with this before. However, these files are a little bit different on how they're encrypted. I don't know why. Basically, most files in the Escapists use Blowfish Compat as the encryption/decryption method. However, these, I think, use regular Blowfish with little endian and ECB with the key Moth King. I don't know a lot about decryption, so if what I just said there was completely wrong, then so be it, because I don't know much about it. However, I know how to decrypt things with libraries that already exist. So basically, I found this little program called escapistcrypto.py. It's just a Python file that decrypts these certain things. And it's great. However, it's written in Python, and so to kind of get around this, because this is all written in C#, my game, because it's using Unity. So to get around this, I did a little tricky thing. Okay, what? You get stuck here. Oh, try it again. It'll work after you try it again. Got forward slashes and everything. I don't know. Is this the first time you've tried? Sometimes that happens to me, and I just redo it. Anyways, someone having trouble playing the game. So, what was I talking about? So yeah, I was trying. I found a way to do it in C#. Tried a few times, making sure everything would go, and I've got to work and forgot about it. Making have editor video while I can talk to you in like 20 minutes. All right. So, well, okay, yeah. So encrypting or decrypting the stuff, right? So might do a full reinstall. That'll be a good idea. Also, they might need to. Well, they got past the decompiling part, so I don't know. Anyways, there's this script called tile decrypt, which just decrypts these tile sets and then loads them into memory, or yeah. And so basically what I did was I just put the Python script into a string and just have it like that, and then this is something ChatGPT helped me on, but you can actually just start the process here, and since it's also like a Python thing and you need to like put in arguments, because it's like a command line type of thing. Like if I load it in command line, you need to, alright, did I escapists crypto.py, oof. MathPy. You know, you need arguments here because this is a command line type of program, so that's kind of hard to figure out. But I figured it out eventually. So you could just do this. It gives you the path of the files, and then whatever. It just does a for each of the tile sets in here. So that's just how I got around that. That was pretty interesting, I thought, that you could actually just do that. So basically moving on, yeah, I had to basically, you know, just load in these files as well. And that changed a few way things work, but it's fine. It needed to be done anyways. I knew I was going to have to do it. Anyways, moving on to the actual map editor. This was really fun to make, like insanely fun, because it's like, I don't know, it's mostly just a lot of programming, because this is all like really just UI. So, you know, and it's very basic UI. So really it's just like how am I gonna like how am I gonna place a tile? How am I going to highlight a square that is the shape of what I'm placing, right? These are problems that I had to, solve for doing this. But it was just a lot. It was a lot of stuff. Because I'd never made a map editor before. I'd always wanted to make an Escapist map editor. However, I don't really need to anymore because a new map editor has recently been dropped by Remek. You probably do not know who he is. However, he made a pretty cool map editor recently. Okay, so it thinks it's a virus. That's pretty interesting. But anyways, he made a map editor that's actually really good. There's a lot of bugs that need to be fixed, but he's aware of them and he's fixing them. But anyways, so I basically, okay, dude, I don't care. What are we doing? What? I don't care what, okay. Stupid. Stop doing that. Bro. No, bro. Don't run a quick scan. I'm trying to record a video. What are we doing? Okay, dude. Stop. Okay. Now it's loading. Okay, so now the map editor is loading. Here it is. Here's the map editor. This is not my map editor. This is the map editor that Remek made. And it's pretty good. Can we load, please? Hello? Load tile set. There we go. And you can it's nice. It's cool. So he was actually making this pretty much at the same time that I was making my map editor, which I thought was really cool. But so getting into the actual map editor here, I'm gonna just load into the game and show it off. It's pretty cool. So it's gonna take a bit to load, as it usually does, because of all the things it needs to do. That's decompiling, and then we're loading all the textures. You might see some extra text pop up here for, successfully decrypting, and those are the files that it's decrypting. And so, map editor, and here we go. So, this is the map editor. It's, I mean, it is what it is, right? So basically, I mean, I don't really know what to say here. It's a map editor. It works and it's great. So, I can make a little building here. Where's the other? Here it is, and then, or I need to do it here. And then, where's the other? Here it is. See, look, you can make a little thing here, and have a little floor in it. Boom. Okay, I know this is disgusting. This is a thing that I'm gonna change. It's just it's just one big scroll of every object. It's so funny to me. We can make a little house here. We can put say this is like a solitary room. We can put a camera in here, maybe even a detector, a little payphone outside for decoration, like a locker. It's just a map editor, and it works and it's great, and you can make stuff, and it's really cool. So basically, it does what it does. It does what it's supposed to, and I'm just really proud of it. I'm really happy with how it's turned out, and it's great. I think it works well. I think it's usable in its current state. Now, here's a little thing here. There's grids here, and I don't really like the grids. I don't like the grid lines. So I may or may not remove them. I don't know. I don't really want to. I mean, not right now. It's good to have them for testing, because I can actually see where each tile is. But yeah, so you know, you got all the all the objects. This will be done. This will be completely changed in the final release. This is just how it is right now. But you know, it has things like the tank, so you can just place the tank. It has the rocket here. Boom, got the rocket. And something you can't do, you can't place objects on top of each other. That was intentional, because you never really need to do it. The only place where you really do need to do it is here. I think the rocket might need it. I don't know. We'll get to that later. But you know, blue doors. Blue doors is a big thing that the original editor did not have, and I'm happy that it has blue doors because that's really cool, to me at least. That's funny. This tile isn't exactly 2 tiles high. That's just really interesting to me. As you can see, every object starts from the bottom right or bottom left corner and places it from there, which I think works well and was easy to implement as well. So, but yeah, so as you can see, tiles also have transparency. That was something I added today. You know, and so let's go to zones. Oh, here's underground. Oh, I need to change that. I didn't change the underground texture, which is kind of sad. So I'm gonna change that. But you know, you have vents, so we can place stuff on the vents here. So I have like a little vent floor and like vent walls. So I mean, you know, it does it. You know, it does the job, right? So it's pretty cool. Some little vent slats here. Let's see. Let's go to the roof. You know, just roof stuff. I don't know. I mean, I'm just, you know, whatever, you know, and each thing is its own thing, so you know, it doesn't show on other layers. This is the zones layer. Now this is something I'm probably going to change as well. You have to spawn in zones using these buttons here. So if I click one, it just spawns in the bottom left corner. And so now that's done pretty much because I want the zone to be offset like this. So this isn't like, you know, perfectly like, what would this be, a 3x2, you know, this isn't perfect. I mean, it is perfectly a 3x2 zone, but it's not perfectly centered or like fit in within the zones. These are halfway of a zone. Basically, in the original game, there was this kind of thing where you wouldn't really know where a zone would start and end. Well, you know where it would start and end, but you wouldn't know if a zone would bleed over into the next tile. So, because sometimes it happened, like in Shankton, that just happens, which is annoying. So, what I've done to really just make that more obvious on what's happening, I made it only go halfway in between. I'm really proud of this. You can like just do this. When I first started doing this, and I'm really proud. Like, dude, just being able to just move this around and it just works is just so nice, you know. But, you know, we can place, you know, zones and whatever. I might make these handles bigger because as you zoom out, there's, you know, it's harder to grab them. Yeah, everything snaps to the tile and it's just nice, and you can delete it like this. You can get back to the move mode. You also might notice that none of these buttons are like glowing when I hover over them. That was intentional. I just don't want to do that right now. That's a thing that I'm going to fix when I like polish it. But that's not right now. You can also put zones outside of the map. You can actually put a lot outside of the map. You can trick it into putting things outside of the map. I'll show you that once I go through this property pages. This properties panel. I have the name here, so name, and you have guard, you know, number of guards and inmates. You can't go over 99. It just doesn't let you. Never mind, you can't go over 9. Hello. That's something that needs to change. Well, I'll change that afterwards if I remember, because I can't just change it here. It won't do it. Character limit 2. Yeah, okay, what are we doing? It literally is 2. Whatever. It's something I'll change. Scuffed. It's just scuffed. So, but anyways, you know, NPC level 1, 2, or 3. So, you know, pretty basic stuff. And you can choose your tile set here. You can choose like any tile set, which is really cool. You can choose a custom tile set if you have one. So I have, you know, these dev tiles. Now I don't think it actually works yet. You can't actually use the tiles unless if you export this prison and then load them. Yeah, I actually haven't tried doing custom tile sets. I should probably try that because I haven't tested that. You can do the same thing with the ground. What stalag flucked ground, right? And then the music for free time. Let's make it DTAF because that's the best one in the game. Icon. So what the purpose of icon is here is you know how in the original game in the prison select menu you can see like a picture of the prison before you select it or whatever. That's what this is. Basically, custom maps are going to be in a line like that. Now, that will be toggleable, I think. I'll make that toggleable between just the list of prisons or having it in the whole like line of prisons, which might get too big if you have a lot of custom prisons, which might happen. So it's toggleable. This also might just be removed. I'm not a huge fan of the icon thing, but you know, it's just another thing to customize. So we have grounds, so like inside, outside, you know, inside, outside, and you can also change the size. Now this actually does change right when you set it, unlike the other things, which I should probably change. But say we wanted to make it like, I think the lowest we can go is 25. So let's make it 25 by 25. And this is what I was talking about, by how things can just get out of bounds. So when you resize something and it goes like below like where some tiles are, obviously it just gets sent out of bounds. And you can't delete these. You just can't. And the map, the loading of the map or saving maps, like this just doesn't get put in. So basically this was originally a bug that I decided to leave in because, you know, if you say you're resizing your prison and you accidentally make it like super small and all of your map gets cut off, right? Can't really, you know, undo that. So I basically just made it so that they just stay out of bounds. You can't mess with them, you can't touch them, you can't place any other tiles there, you can't delete them, but they just stay there. They don't get loaded in with the prison when you save it. It's just there. You know, being like, hey, if you resize it, you know, it'll go back to this. But yeah, this is a really cool feature. I just like playing around with it. I think the biggest it can go is 125, pretty sure, which is pretty big. It's bigger than a regular custom prison, which, I mean, this is just really big. Yeah, so you know, it just gets resized, and now you can actually mess with these things, you know, delete everything, whatever, and so that's cool. We'll keep it 25 by 25 just for demonstration purposes, if I can select the text here. But you might also see, in addition to these, you know, regular things, there's also these editors here, which are really cool. So let's go into the note editor. This might look a little bit familiar. So this is basically just the graphic for the warden note, but you can just input the text that will be here, which I think is really cool because, I don't know, I just think it's cool. You know, and it's just, Nate, it's just cool, you know, and then you can put the warden here, and it's just a little cool thing, and it's just there, and it's cool. I really enjoy that. Routine editor. Now this is a new thing. You couldn't edit your routine in the last, in the original, other than having, you know, the 3 preset ones, minimum, medium, and maximum. now you can just change it to whatever you want. And I will probably make it so that you can also just use the preset ones if you want to. So I'll just make like a little box here, like minimum, medium, maximum, just so you still have that functionality. And so, you can just put in like, I want roll call at 12 in the morning, and then we'll have lunch right after. You can do things like this, and it's just really fun to just play around with it. Honestly, I don't know how the game is going to handle some of this. Let's say you put like, lights out in the middle of the day, and then more stuff. How is that going to work? I don't know. That's the whole point of this. I want the player to have complete control over what they can do, right? Which I think is really, really just important, So we have a hint editor here. This is for the payphone. So just hints, right? And I'm still debating on whether or not I should keep this for reasons that I can't really explain right now. So, but yeah, I mean, this is cool. Hints, right? Job editor, so you can, put your starting job is, let's just make it the wood shop, and then we have to enable it because, but this again, I mean, you can put anything here. It should be one of these, but if you don't put it here, then the map just won't be saved, and the game will probably just like mess up, and it'll maybe even crash. I don't know. It probably won't crash because that's not really how it works, but it just won't work if you don't put the actual job here. And like I said, this is still in a very, it's in an early stage. So, things like this where there isn't really any error handling, that will be fixed later on. It'll be fixed before this releases. Of course, you could always just play around with this before it's even released because it is open source and it's pushed daily. So you could just see this and use it if you wanted to, if you had the know-how of doing that. Finally, we have extras. This is something that's really cool and something that I really want to expand in the future. However, I just don't know what to put here. So, how in some maps in the original game had snow, like Stalag, and I think that was actually it. I don't know if any other prisons snowed. I think Jingle Cells does in Santa's Sweatshop. But I think that's it. But that's basically what this is. There's a snowing effect that happens on screen, and I always wanted to be able to use that in a custom prison. You just can't. So now I made it a thing. Prisoner of War outfits. Say, I just want Prisoner of War outfits. I think this would actually be enabled if you were to make the routine camp style in the original game. I'm not sure about that, but now it's an option that you just know will happen. Also stun rods, like in HOP Iron Gate. So that's cool. I plan to add a lot more things. Like I plan to add I actually plan to add custom escape zone triggers where you can just escape if you touch a tile within that zone. I think that would be interesting. That's like London Tower having its escape trigger higher than usual. I also want to add the HMP Iron Gate escape, escape, like the HMP Iron Gate makeshift raft area, where if you click with a makeshift raft, you'll escape. The Alcatraz boat is already in the objects list, so that's cool. That'll be a thing. I want everything to be here. Absolutely everything, which I think is pretty obvious. So yeah, so it's the map editor, right? So let me show off something that's actually really cool. So we have this like file tab here, or panel. You can load prison, export prison, you can start a new prison like this. So say I want to like these work, just trust me, they work. I don't really want to show them off because it's pretty obvious what they do. This just exports a prison, this loads a prison, right? But the really cool thing, and the thing that I think is really cool, is that you can convert CMap files to my file type for reincarcerated maps. So basically, if you just click this button, it'll ask you to find a CMap file, of course. And so say I want to click this one. This prison is a prison that I made like years and years ago. Super terrible prison, but just using it for demonstration purposes. So say if I select this .cmap file, I open it, takes a little bit to load because it's converting it. This is the file extension ZMap. It's just a zip file, but renamed to ZMap. I thought it was cool. So we can save this, just save it to the desktop here. If we look at it, here it is, .zmap. Let's just take a look inside. So like I said, this is just a zip file. What does the zip file contain? Well, it contains, rename. Yeah, I think I have 2 of these actually. Where's the other one? I don't know. Well, anyways, so it's just a zip file, right? And it has this file in here called data.ini. The reason it's a zip file and not just this is because if you choose to have custom tile sets or custom ground or music or an icon, these will get loaded in here. They'll just get saved as files. So yeah, that's why this is a zip file and not just a text file like the CMap files. And so if I load this up, I mean, it's pretty similar to the original games. So, you know, it has a version number, which I think is important. It's just a version of what the game is at right now. But, you know, it has all the stuff. The ground tiles is the big thing that's different from the original game. In the original game, they would be stored as like a little like 2D array almost. You could like see the map in the text file. It was pretty cool. Now, this is not at all what that was like. It's just a list of the tile and its position. So, you know, and it does that for each layer. So let's move down here. Let's go to ground objects. These are how objects are stored. Once again, just the object and then the position. Zones are difficult. So, yeah, so it's these first 2 numbers are the position, and these second 2 numbers is the size. So the position is the position of it in the middle of the object. Same thing with the objects. Some of these should have been rounded. I don't know why those were not rounded. But it's fine. It's a very small. That's actually interesting. It's actually very interesting. I think that's a floating point error. That's gotta be. Because that you can't do that in the original game. Well, at least it wasn't done in this map. Anyways, it still loads, so it doesn't matter. These zones were so hard to get right. I mean, the way zones were stored in the original CMF files is just so infuriating. I didn't understand it for a bit. Like, it's basically just you have the zone and then 2 points. And these points, I'm not even going to go into it. You can figure it out on your own. But you know, that's how zones are stored. So, I don't care, dude. I don't care. Okay. So, let's just rename this back to .zmap so we can load it. So we're in the game here, you know, we have a regular blank map. It doesn't matter if it's blank, it'll overwrite it. So let's load a prison. We find this ZMap, oh, that's different. We find HMP Steelgate.zmap, right? And we open it, takes a little bit to load, and then boom, we're in. This is how it looks this is how it's supposed to look. You know, take my word for it, right? But anyway, so we have all the objects here, you know, I mean, it just, you know, it just all loads, and it's just amazing. This was really hard to do, because the 2 formats are actually, like, pretty different. It may not look like that, but it really is. This, how are you supposed to chip this? This is so stupid. Why did I make it like this? Oh, man, oh, I don't know. But yeah, so this is just this is a map that I made a while ago. But yeah, so everything just loads in. You know, you got the underground. Now the underground here is it's just all reinforced concrete. That's supposed to be like that, and then you have the little 3 where you're supposed to be able to dig here or something. It's stupid. So let's go to the vent layer. I didn't put vents on this map for some reason. I don't actually know if that's supposed to be the case. Let's just roll with it. Let's go to zones. This is something, this is what I was talking about. This took so, this was so difficult to get right. Okay, these zones are correct. These are where they're supposed to be. But just getting them to be able to be like converted from, man, it was just hard to do. It was just hard to do. But it's done. It all is here, and it's really cool. So you know, you can move around the zones, and it's just really fun. So, you know, and then yeah, I mean that's how you do it. There's not really much else to say here. It loads the tile set in. Yeah, I mean, it just works, which is awesome, you know. I do want to show off one extra thing though. So, there is, you know, so you can do custom tile sets, right? I made a little just guide for custom tile sets here. Here it is. So example tiles.png. This is just a little like numbered tile set list thingy, and this is a text file that, you know, helps with that. So, you know, it just says like the number and then what it is. So, you know, you have the corner tiles, the set of these. I need to add floors that are inside floors and also floors that are outside floors to this. I need to make a differentiation here. But it's really cool. It's also, you can just get it from this paste bin link here, and it's just here, which I think is cool. So yeah, so that's just a little guide for creating custom tile sets. Custom grounds, this is not mentioned here, but custom grounds is like what you put it in. So you can't, I'm not gonna have it tile on its own. If you just put in like a 16 by 16 texture, you actually have to put in the whole thing. Just so you know, each custom map is 108 by 108, so just multiply that by 16 and that's the size of the image that you want for your ground. But anyways, so you know, this is really cool. That was fun to make, and easy to make as well. So yeah, so that's the map editor. I mean, it's here, it's working, and it's doing its job, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say here other than, you know, play my game. I do want to end this off by saying that this is still planned for pretty much, you know, its first release by the end of this year. It will probably happen before that, I'm not gonna lie. This map editor was something that I wasn't expecting to actually do or finish ever. And I think it's explained in the video previous on why that is, but why I also had to actually make it, because maps depend on map properties. They need to know what type of map it is, you know what I mean? So that's why I had to make it. If you have any suggestions on this layout here of things, you know, make that known in the comments, right? This will be changed. This is terrible. I don't like this. But yeah, so I'm not a huge fan of the zones thing, but it's just the best that I thought of at the time, and it still is kind of the best that I think. I mean, you could just go to the zones layer and then start dragging and it'll pop up. That would be cool. I don't know. having it spawn in the bottom left corner every time is something that I'm definitely going to change. But yeah, so this is fun, just pressing delete and then move. It changes the little thing. So yeah, that's kind of it. Thank you for being supportive of this project. Please join the Discord. Yeah, I mean, just yeah. We're getting more and more people, which is really cool, in the Discord. This video is 40 minutes long. It should not be 40 minutes long. Oh well, right? Oh well. I just showed off one of the biggest features of this game. It would take time, right? It takes time. Oh, that's a reference. Anyways, so yeah. That's kind of it. So goodbye.